Not every Stoic came from a palace. Some came from chains. What if the most powerful life advice didn't come from an emperor but from a man who was once owned by one? You've been told to chase success, wealth, or approval. Epictetus says your real task in life is something far simpler and far harder. Welcome to Stoic Blend, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Today, we dive into the timeless teachings of Epictetus the slave who became a master of the mind. Most of the great Stoic thinkers had wealth, power, and privilege. Marcus Aurelius was born into royalty and ruled an empire. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome, writing letters from the comfort of luxurious estates. But then there was Epictetus. He wasn't born into fortune, he was born into slavery. In fact, his very name means acquired. He didn't speak about philosophy from ivory towers, but from a humble place zone of service, one of pain, one of first-hand experience. That's what makes his words hit deeper. He wasn't theorizing from a throne. He was surviving in the shadow of it. And yet, from that shadow, he saw clearly. Epictetus reminds us of one central truth. It's not events that upset us, it's our opinions about them. The world is what it is. The traffic jam isn't personal. The economy doesn't care. That rude comment? It's not about you. What disturbs your peace isn't the thing, it's the story you attach to it. We say, this is unfair. This ruined me. This shouldn't be happening. But the Stoics ask, what if you chose not to believe that? If you don't see yourself as harmed, you haven't been. That's the key. You decide the meaning of the blow, not the blow itself. When life challenges you, when things fall apart, when plans collapse, Epictetus advises us to treat it like training. Life is pairing you with a strong sparring partner. Why? So you can become Olympic class. Just like lifting heavy weights builds stronger muscles, facing real resistance builds mental strength. That toxic coworker, that failure, that breakup, they're not curses. They're practice. They're your training ground. This brings us to what Epictetus believed was the most important task in life. Distinguishing what's in your control and what isn't. It sounds simple, even obvious. But how often do we ignore it? How much of our suffering comes from fighting battles that aren't ours to win other people's opinions? Unpredictable outcomes. Things beyond our influence. Your job, the task that underpins all Stoic thought, is to focus on what's in your control. Your thoughts, your actions, your effort. Everything else, let it be. Imagine running a race, and someone passes you. Your instinct is to speed up, to beat them. But Epictetus reminds us, the race isn't against them, it's against yourself. He said, enter races where winning is up to you. That's the only contest worth entering. Focus on your lane. That's where growth lives. Epictetus wasn't impressed by fancy words or showy intellect. A student once bragged about reading the complex writings of Chrysippus. Epictetus replied, if Chrysippus had written better, you'd have less to boast about. Philosophy, he believed, wasn't meant to confuse. It was meant to guide. It should be plain, direct, and practical. It should shape how you live, not just how you sound. His own body bore the scars of slavery. It said his cruel master broke his ligand. Epictetus didn't resist. He simply asked, did you really think that would go any other way? He walked with that injury the rest of his life, but he never let it cripple his mind. Physical pain, limitation, loss, they touch the body, not the soul. The Stoic mindset is one that refuses to let the external define the internal. True wealth, Epictetus taught, isn't having many things, it's having few wants. When your desires shrink, your freedom expands. You stop needing validation, you stop chasing what's outside your control. That's when you feel full. That's when you feel rich. Even in hardship, he says, you are not being punished. You are being paired with a worthy opponent, a sparring partner that makes you stronger. Life isn't attacking you, life is training you. We live in a world obsessed with comparison. Everyone's trying to outperform each other, to have more, to be more, to win more. But Epictetus says, Stop. Don't play that game. You'll always lose a race with no finish line. Instead, measure yourself against your own potential. Compete only with the person you were yesterday. Even under the threat of Nero's tyranny, Epictetus stood apart. He wasn't afraid to be different even when it was dangerous. That's real freedom, to choose your values and live by them even when no one else does. He also warned, if you want to grow, you have to be willing to look ignorant sometimes. Not knowing the latest gossip or breaking news isn't weakness, it's strength. If your attention is everywhere, it's really nowhere. True progress requires focus, inner work, discipline. And speaking of discipline, Epictetus embodied the very principles he taught. He didn't just talk philosophy, he lived it. In contrast, others like Seneca struggled to apply their words when tested. But Epictetus endured slavery, injury, and powerlessness and still stood tall in virtue. He looked around Nero's court, saw men with wealth and influence who were miserable, desperate, and enslaved by ambition. And he realized, freedom isn't about possessions or status. It's about ownership of your mind. Are you in charge, or is your fear, your envy, your desire? Epictetus said, if you want peace, stop chasing what's outside. Turn inward. Reclaim your role. Like an actor on stage, you don't control the script, the director, or the audience. You control how you play your part. Play it with excellence. That's freedom. So how do you know if you're living stoically? According to Epictetus, it comes down to one phrase. This is what I trained for. You get rejected, this is what I trained for. You lose money, this is what I trained for. Someone insults you. This is what I trained for. When you can say that, when you can meet life with calm preparation, you know the teachings have taken root. And still, we delay. We wait to be wise. We promise ourselves we'll start tomorrow. But as Marcus Aurelius warned, you could be good today, but instead, you choose tomorrow. Epictetus challenges us. How much longer will you wait to demand the best of yourself? Don't put it off. Acta, non verba, deeds, not words. Because death is coming for all of us. That's the final lesson, the great equalizer. Epictetus told his students to remember death every day, not to fear it, but to find urgency in it. When you remember how short this life is, you start to live it fully. You slow down. You let go. You stop clinging and start appreciating. That's the freedom Stoicism offers. Not freedom from hardship, but freedom in how you meet it. So today, don't just listen to philosophy. Live it. Choose the right handle. Pick up life and respond not with excuses, but with excellence. That, Epictetus would say, is the real task in life.